Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Let his mercy cover the night. From everlasting to everlasting, his kingdom rules in light. Justice for all who are oppressed. He made his ways known to Moses, his acts to the children of Israel. As a father has compassion on the children that he loves, so the Lord shows compassion to the ones who fear his name. He remembers we are dust. Our days are like the grass, but his mercy never fades. His faithfulness will last. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Every heart be given him praise. As far as the east from the west, he has carried my sins away. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. Let his mercy cover the night. From everlasting to everlasting, his kingdom rules in light.
I was singing mercy and justice to you, oh Lord, I'll make my song. I'll walk within my house with honor and keep my heart from doing wrong. I will say no wicked thing before my eyes are in my way. The proud will not endure with me. Truth and love will light my day. I'll stand in faith, I'll stand in grace, in purity before your face. I'll guard my steps, I'll guard my gate. My heart and soul will celebrate. I will sing of your mercy, I will dance to your justice, in the rhythm of your glory. My heart beats in your promise.
All right, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. How is everybody doing this morning? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We are currently taking a. Well, here, let me get that. Currently taking an inversion long right now, seeing if we're going to run up to the 15-minute time frame. 15-minute fair value gap. How's everybody doing this morning? Oh, I need to change the date. Thank you. I forgot to do that. Well, welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started and take a look at the market. I am attempting a long. We have a breaker and an inversion. Breaker and an inversion right here. Looking just for a 15-minute tag. If we go below this on the 2-minute, I will be closing that position right there. Just an attempt to see if we want to go back higher after hitting the last 5-minute fair value gap in this range. And a breaker. And an hourly fair value gap. So we'll see. Are we? We are not doing anything. I am attempting a long. Good chance it's gonna close right. That's really close. I'll give it a shot. Yesterday was an inside day. It was a fake break day. It was horrible, absolutely horrible price action. And I am glad I walked away. I walked away with minimal losses and just accepted the red day that I had. And now Hopefully we get a little bit better price action here today. We will see. ES has a nice 5-minute fair value gap here as well that has been untagged. So we had that also. We'll see if it can give it to us. Right here. Or if it's going to stop me out. Good morning, Chris. Oh, I don't like that. That's unfortunate. See if we can follow through on that. That stinks. It looked good there for a second, didn't it? We got a nice big candle that was green, and then it lost all of that and came down right above where my stops are, and that typically is a sign that we're gonna move lower, but we're just gonna leave it and see if we move higher here. It's not. That's why I don't mess with it. I just leave it. The odds don't look too hot with a fair value gap lower. What do we got? 3 minutes till market opens. It could, but I should, if that's the case, I should not have my stops right there, to be honest with you. I would like to see, I mean, it looks heavy, to be honest with you. It looks heavy. We'll do an analysis here. It's hard for me to analyze other things when I'm watching something that I want to move. And we're so close to the opening bell. We got a minute and 10 seconds left. It looks like we might be so fortunate, thank you, Lord. We'll see. Where we hit the 15-minute fair value gap. Potentially even off that open. We'll see what happens here. We got equal highs here. All right, wow. 9:30 helped us out there, didn't it? I took everything off right off of that little pump. It played out. It played out. It worked. It worked, folks. It wasn't the most comfortable thing to sit in. Woo! That's a way to start the morning. Yeah, my stops are... I just closed it. I closed it. Yeah, it was $144 on each account. All right, let's open in prayer. Lord, we just commit this day to you. Let your will be done. In today's live stream, we thank you for your presence and your leadership. I pray a blessing over everyone here, Lord, that they would be blessed in their coming and their going. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Let's say hello. Well, good morning, everyone. Ted, K, RMP, Caesar. Good morning, Kevin, Wawa, Jeff, Samuel, Nat, Trey, Disciplined Trader, Georgette. Good morning, Eric, Sully, Ron. Good morning, Tiziana. Well, the market is, as a result of that, is pumping higher. We have equal highs right here. I anticipate it's probably going to run higher here. Let's go higher here. So let's go to the daily. Let's analyze the daily here. All right. So here's what we're looking at. So we have, that's a weekly. So from a weekly perspective, we did our dip. It's Wednesday morning. Okay. Right? Wednesday morning, we did our dip. This is where I think we could go back up this way, potentially. Let's see what we look at on the daily perspective. From a daily, here's our fake break day. We did not run a previous day high or a previous day low. We did tap into the daily inversion fair value gap from July 23rd. And we have low resistance liquidity and a daily fair value gap. This was my weekly goal. This is my weekly goal, is that we end up there. We'll see if that wants to do that. We could be creating a BPR right now. We'll see if it's creating the BPR. I'll show you guys that here in a second. But we do have a 4-hour that has been inverted. This is conducive of horrible price action. And it's what I'm nervous about or cautious about, not nervous. I'd say cautious yesterday. If you go look in yesterday's price action, here's some homework for you. Okay? Go look at yesterday's price action. And for those of you that have gone through the 30-day roadmap, I want you to look at how many inversions were created and how many failed. How many inversions were created and how many failed? That there is something you need to understand is what we call a regime change. Okay? The conditions of the market have shifted and it is in a consolidatory position. Okay? And you need to make adjustments accordingly. What does it mean? It means maybe don't do the inversion at the moment. Maybe it means wait for heavy retracements away from where you want it to go. Okay? Those are the things that you might want to consider. Guys, give me a second. My wife told me I needed to do something and I'm just remembering it. It'll take me about 2 minutes. Okay, so we're back here. But from a 4-hour perspective, we've inverted this 4-hour, but we're still consolidating between the 4-hour fair value gaps here. We've just been kind of doing this thing all the way down, and I'm wondering if this is our low of week. If this is our low of week, look at this drop right here. Okay. Actually, look at this drop right here. Let's do this. Let's see if that's 2 standard deviations. I haven't done this yet. From that low to that high to that low, targets. 2 standard deviations from this push lower is all the way up here. And if we go down to here, 2 standard deviations comes up to here. And I think this could have been the low, the pump lower here. Let's drop it down here. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. So from an hourly perspective, we have respected this SIBI or this BISI. And this is the BPR that I'm looking to see if it wants to create. Okay, we created one here. And as you can see, it held initially. So that's the value of a BPR. You can get confidence that you're going to see some longs. And so I saw that we were holding and I wanted to see if that inversion we got gave us to the 15-minute, and it did. We got relatively equal highs here. This tells me we need to make it jagged, and we should see some prices up there. We're already jagged down here, and we need to get some big movement this direction. I think we have the structure for that. If you look on ES has done something similar: consolidation, manipulation higher, and potential manipulation lower. I'm not sure if it wants to go higher or lower from this perspective here, because we manipulated here and we manipulated here, and we're right back inside of the consolidation. From here, we want to see which way it wants to leave. Whichever way it goes from here is probably it's giving up the ghost, as ICT would say. It's telling us where it wants to go. So we're still a little early, I think, on knowing where. But if we're not, we'll see how this 15-minute candle wants to close. This is a big deal because we have a breaker right here. And if this comes all the way back down here and closes around or at this 15-minute inversion, because it hasn't inversed this yet, we could see price rolling over. This 15-minute is a big deal, and that is our 15-minute opening price right here. That's 9:30 open right there with it being untagged. And it could leave that and come back later. It could tag it and then move higher. We just need to analyze it and wait. But we're still back inside of all this consolidation right now. After the manipulation though. If this is the manipulation leg, what we want to see is a willingness to close through it, find support on it, and move higher and potentially look at an entry somewhere around there. NQ. ES is what I do my analysis on. Two minutes left, and pretty strong candle here. Here's the thing, there is no liquidity on the left. It's only swing highs. Let's go down to the 5 minute and see if we got any here. Did we tap this one? We didn't. All right, so we have a 5 minute right here. Let's mark this 5 minute. It's unmitigated and it's a SIBI. And then if we look further left, there's nothing else but swing highs here. Okay. $15-minute candle is going to close here. Five-minute fair value gap here. We will see if this holds that first presented 5-minute fair value gap right there, or if it's not going to hold. We'll see. Made equal highs right here. All right, there's the tap. I need a retrace. I can't go long from here. I need some form of retracement. Here's a breaker. From a 15-minute perspective, we got a 5-minute in here as well. This is a large 45 points. Okay. That's what I want. I want it to come back down into this 5-minute fair value gap here. And this is where I'm going to look for a long, somewhere in that box. I'm leaning towards the lower half of it because we got another 5-minute fair value gap there. We have 930 and we have a breaker that's even lower than that right at 930. That's kind of what I would be looking for. Really smooth here. I would love for this to stay smooth and us to get the drop here. If we start moving without the drop, then I'm concerned that we're not going to reach that point. if we're going to trend higher, this is our fair value gap that you go long from. There's the fair value gap that you go long from. I'm just not convinced on that yet, simply because, I mean, look at this. See how pretty this is? Look at that drop, and then look at this expansion right there. This is a BPR, okay? I expect this area to hold. That's why I want it to come down into here, and I'd feel much more confident about it holding. I'd take that risk. I can't take that risk here. That risk, if taken here, it could come all the way down here, and that's a 97-point stop loss. I can't do that. I'm confident that this will hold, but I still have to have proper risk management, because confidence doesn't mean it's true. It's just confidence. Okay, if I go here, then my stop becomes closer to 50. That's more reasonable. I could handle that. I'll take that. I'll take that shot. But I need it to get down inside of here for me to feel like I can handle that risk management. Then if we come down here, find support, and start moving back higher, that's where I add to the position, not before. Uh, 50K flex accounts. That's pretty cheap. That's pretty cheap, pure. What does that come out to be? What? $55 per account? No. $65 per account? Yeah, I guess if you wanted, you could get Apex, which is cheaper. However, you only have 30 days to pass it. Funded Next doesn't have an expiration on it. So I know you could get it cheaper, but you know, best deal. It just depends on what the deal is you're looking for. We did tap the first presented fair value gap. True. Do we got news today? We had PCE this morning. No, nothing else today. Okay. We're about to have an inversion to the upside on the 1 minute. I'm not as interested in it right now because we already tagged the 5 minute and swept some internal liquidity. I want to see the pullback. That's what I want to see. Leave some low resistance liquidity, and then so we can run it really quickly. I'm extra cautious today because of how yesterday played out. The price action from yesterday. There is a lot of inversions here, and a lot of them, some of them played out, but also many of them failed also. Here. And it was sloppy. And I just want to make sure that we are leaving that and we are expanding. We're in an expansion phase. See this nice BPR? This is what I'm talking about right there. That's pretty. I really do want to go long. Maybe I could just take 1 micro and position myself to be able to handle more risk. I could go up to 100. I could do a 100-point stop with 1 micro. That just seems like I'd rather not waste the emotional strain of holding a loser that long if it decides to go against me. We have previous day high as a target. We have another previous day high. Call that a PP. Yeah, the question for me isn't are we going long or short? The question is where do I get in to go long? That's the hardest part right now, because we could retrace all the way down to here and still go long. And I can't afford that type of drawdown. And maybe I missed my entry when we were inside this fair value gap. Do you see what I mean? That was the fair value gap that I said earlier. I said, hey, here is, if we're trending, this is the fair value gap entry. $10 is in a minute. Exactly, Josh. That's the main reason why I'm not taking any longs. And it could be the reason why I miss out on a trade. There's just... The ideal scenario is it comes down to here. And I can take the long from there. Can I discuss balanced range? The balanced range is here. This is a perfect example of one. What do you see about this? Number one, it looks balanced. It looks identical on the left and the right. It looks like a mirror image if you flip it over. Okay, that's one way to identify. Second, you got a fair value gap or a series of fair value gaps on the left, and you got a fair value gap or series of fair value gaps on the right that mirror the left and the right. Second, lastly, you need a key level for it to be returning on. So my key level is down here. We hit the daily, or down here. We hit the daily, and I think we're moving higher now. So if we're moving higher, I anticipate this to stay, be safe, and it's going to reach only to the last fair value gap and then turn. Well, it did that here, and we have consolidation and moved above it. So now I'm anticipating that we come back down, find support at or around it to then move higher. Pure programming, then I think you're good with funded next. Make sure we're not missing anything on the 15-minute. So we have our 15-minute fair value gap sitting here. At a minimum, I want to see this dipped into. At a minimum, I want to see that dipped into. Okay? So it needs to be in there before I even consider a long. And that's not very hard. That's not very hard. There's a high probability that's going to happen. It's everything else. And the other thing that's slightly concerning is that this 15-minute candle at 9 o'clock does not have a wick. Go back and look how many wicks you see on a 15-minute chart that aren't in the next few candles gone back to it. So here's one right here. No wick. The next candle comes back and runs it. Here's one right here. Next candle runs it immediately. Here's one right here on this big move lower. And we move lower again, but guess what we do? At 9:30, we wick up into it, through it, and then continued in the direction. So do you see that lack of a candle? A lack of a wick? This is what's also concerning me on the low for today. So when I'm hesitant, it's not because I'm afraid to take a trade, it's because I see this right there. Do you want, now let me show you where it's at. Right there. That's concerning to me. Those are usually tagged. So you could even take that as a reason to go short to that point at a minimum. Or for a semi-conservative type of trade. It's a legitimate setup. Here's one that hasn't been tagged yet. It was at 3 a.m. Right at the top, right there. So that wasn't tagged. It hasn't been tagged yet. Here's one right here. It was tagged in the very next candle. Here's one right here. It was tagged on the very next candle. Here, this has a wick. It's just the smallest ever. This has a wick too. You just can't see it. This has a wick too. Just can't see it. This doesn't have a wick, but it's ran on the very next candle. So that's what I'm looking at is, do I want to consider a short because the probabilities say that it's going to come and rebalance that? That's something you could actually test on the Trade Companion. I haven't even thought about that. If you have the Trade Companion, which if you don't get it, it's free. It connects Claude to TradingView, and you can backtest this very thing. Okay, maybe there is a wick here. The smallest of wicks. It is one tick with a gap. You bet big. You bet big, Bree. No regrets. Yes, I do, Gabby. There's the 15 minute. I'm not ready yet. If we don't come down to here and we come up and tag here, I will take that short for a move into this 5 minute. Excuse me. And then we have another 5 minute down here. I'll be right back. I'm going to try a small short here. Wicked up into this breaker. I want to see it go down into this 5 minute. Midpoint of the daily range is going to be the target. And then my second TP is going to be the 5 minute fair value gap right here, and that is at 29,206. There we go. All right, target one hit down at right at midpoint reaction there. I'm looking for this to get into here, and honestly, I might see if it wants to reach all the way down to that 15-minute candle. Less optimistic about that, but for sure we need to be moving stop to break even. I'm going to time it with ES hitting this 15-minute fair value gap. That's kind of, I think, what I want to do. Not yet. We got a 5 minute here. All right, there's the tab of the 5 minute. Let's see if it wants to get an aggressive push here. All right, I'm going to close that. We are up 123 on 5 accounts there. I'm going to end that one. I'm going to go to my third round of accounts. So I rotate between 3 funded accounts right now, just to keep losses, to keep profits, keep losses small, and to keep profits and not give back to the market. So I'm going to actually take a long here. Once I get, not at this point. If we inverse this, I might, but I'm going to let it reach one more time just in case. But I'm looking for a long right in here. And if you got to remember, it is 10:23, so we could do some consolidation here, and then towards the end of the hour, towards the end of the macro or beginning of the next macro, we could look at a long. Hang on a second. What the heck? I don't understand. What happened? It makes no sense. Okay, so there's 9:30. So before I just take a long, I'm waiting to see support. I'm confused. My P&L on one of my funded accounts says I'm up $700, yet I'm looking at the equity balance and it says I'm down over 1,000. It's very confusing. I don't understand it. Well, Gabby, if I can figure, apparently I don't know how to trade with multiple accounts right now. All right, honestly, this is where I'm half tempted to take a position because I think we're gonna get a reaction here. This is more of one of those gut things that I could be absolutely wrong about. So I want to see a wick form right here. All right, I'm in a long. I'm gonna try it. It's well. What am I doing? Doesn't look like that's gonna be helpful. We're gonna wait. I wanted the wick right here, and it didn't give me the wick. All right, I'm gonna try right here. Stop for this kind of a trade is going to have to go down here. And this sucker is one of those trades that you hold all the way through here. 374 to something like that. Okay. So position set. Entry was here. Stop loss is 44 points and target is 196 points. All right. We're in it. We're in it for the long run. I'm not gonna take any partials. I took 2 contracts. We'll look at going full target on this trade. And I could be wrong. I'm willing to accept that. I could be wrong. I'm willing to accept it. I want to make sure that the 15-minute does not close below 9:30. We do not want that. So see how it closed above it? We do not want a 15-minute candle closing below here. Really, the best answer to this is an immediate response back. That's going to be my big clue that I'm right. Is if we get aggressive price action, just a couple large candles in a row. If we don't get that, then I might look at closing early. Sure. Or a 5-minute close down here, right? An inverse of this last 5-minute. I might close. Heck, if I'm going for the new week opening gap, we might as well just go for previous day high, 250, make it the biggest trade I've ever done. Yeah, being outside of the macro tells me consolidation. Consolidation, and which isn't a bad thing in this scenario. I would prefer consolidation other than a continue expansion. Yeah, we're swinging. We're going big here. Yeah, we have a lot. I mean, a lot of stuff has to happen right for us to get this. For sure. A lot of things have to happen right. If this candle, this 15-minute candle closes below down here, my whole idea, I think, is gone, and I would close the trade early just so I'm not taking a larger loss than I need to. I'm not just going to click the button and close my eyes here. I'm still going to read the market and try to make the best decision I can. That right there is what I want to see. That is a partial clue. Now I want to see it be a full body. Okay, so that's phase one. So phase one in my mind is complete. Phase two is that the very next candle cannot eliminate a fair value gap opportunity. The next candle, this candle has to go higher. Essential, okay? That's phase two. And then there's a phase three. Phase three is that the fair value gap that was created must hold. If we can get those three, then I'm confident in the direction that I have here. %, Jeff. Absolutely. Absolutely you could. I got in based on a turtle soup. That was the entry technique. I never do that, but I did it today. It was also a breaker if you really are looking for it. But if you get the retracement into that fair value gap, absolutely you could take that as a entry technique. Turtle Soups, day 31. All right, so phase 3 is I want to see the fair value gap that we created. I want to see that fair value gap hold. This is a big deal. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't, but my confidence would dip. No, I'm not moving anything to protect anything right now. It's too early. Too early, Ron. Why? We haven't had any significant pullback at all. I have to wait for the expansion first. Once I get the expansion, and then we see a significant pullback, and that pullback not stop me out, that's when you move your stop up. Not before. So we haven't had any pullback yet. I'm not moving my stop. Okay, next thing I want to see is on a 5-minute perspective, this in 5-minute fair value gap be inversed. That's our slightly higher time frame confluence. And because there isn't one on the 15-minute. So there's nothing on the 15-minute for us. And there's nothing on the hourly or anything else. So this would need to close here and then the next candles move higher. The hourly doesn't look attractive at all. Not at all. How we close in the next 17 minutes will determine if I'm going to continue with my target. If I get new information, I'm going to adjust that information. I'm confident at a minimum, we'll reach midnight open. Maybe even the first presented fair value gap on the 5-minute time frame. So I'm holding at a minimum for that, and then we'll decide if I'm going to do something else. Right? Because I have to consider higher time frame analysis here. I can't, the 4 hour is is not helpful at all. It's the 1 hour that I'm looking at. Because here's the thing. We have 15 minutes before this candle closes. If this 15 minutes we aggressively push higher, that looks really good. That looks really good. From an hourly perspective, because we have a massive wick, a short body up here, and then we get an expansion higher. So I have to not meddle in the middle for at least 15 minutes so I can see where this hourly is closing. If this hourly closes down here, I'll be the first to say bail ship, jump ship. It's not going to work out. So that's kind of those are the things that I'm watching for when you're doing an analysis on the trade that you're currently in. This is the risk management that you need to have, and what you look at, how you handle your risk. Yes, Brian, I'm in along. Can you explain what midnight open is? Midnight open is exactly as it sounds. The price level from where midnight was. So if we go to the 1 minute, there's midnight open right there. This black line is anchored to this candle, which is the opening price of this candle, which happens to be right at midnight. All right, here's our dip into the fair value gap. This is important. Do we melt through it or do we hold? I love when I see those kinds of reactions. I love it so much. You hit the fair value gap and then it just bounces higher from that tag. That's another indication we're on the right side for the time being. It could change the very next candle. So I don't like that wick. I don't like that doji candle. If you guys appreciate the commentary, seriously, if you're in the chat and you're listening to me now and you're like, I really appreciate the commentary, the insight, the understanding, the way of thinking, do me a favor and hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. It means a lot. It helps grow the channel and it's completely free. I would love to help more people or share this same thing with more people. Yeah, the wick on the top and the bottom. I like this candle, and it looks like it's going to be a solid candle, and look how it's going to close. It's going to close through the first presented fair value gap, or just at the high. I like that. Okay, so I'm watching the midnight open level. If you look left, you'll see those wicks that make relatively equal highs. Okay, we're watching how we engage with that level. Yeah, Alex, that's what I trade. Breakers and inversions. After we get a pullback, we haven't had a single pullback yet. A pullback is something where it violates a first time fair value gap, or it violates a fair value gap. So here, this is a pullback, but it's not a pullback. Here's a pullback. A pullback is like here. So let's say we think it's going higher. It pulls back through some fair value gaps, but still valid, and then expands higher. Okay, so when you look at this, we really don't have a pullback. This is more consolidation than anything. So what can happen is this will come like this, and then it could come all the way back down to here before it sweeps this high, and then it could continue higher. To me, this is like a pullback. And if we can survive a pullback like that, we move our stop to that low. But the best trades, my favorite trades, are those that will run all the way to these highs prior to any sort of pullback. I normally scalp. This one I'm not. Oh, you said scale. Sometimes. Not here, I won't. All right, so look what happened at midnight open. We hit midnight open. What also is happening at midnight open at that level? Look at the breaker. High, low, higher, high. We broke lower, we hit there. So if I am thinking we're bullish and we're going to move higher, I anticipate a reaction here to move lower. This could be our retracement level. We anticipate a reaction because it is a breaker, but ultimately we anticipate that it runs through it. It's only great when I close the trade, RMP. I have to close it and secure the profits. I could mismanage it and it could go all the way to break even, which I'm willing to let it do that. But at that point, is it a great trade? Would you be like, wow, what a loser. This guy was up $250, $1,300 on all his accounts, and he let it go all the way back to zero. So what do I want to see here? Here's an order block. If we go to the 5 minute, nope, it's not on the 5 minute. Let's go to the 4 minute, nope, 3. All right, let's look at the 3 minute. The 3 minute has a single down close candle right here. I want this candle to hold. Why that one? Well, it's the only one here. This is too small, it's too low, and it's also at the midpoint. So I'm okay with it coming back down to here to go higher. All right, so ES has entered the 15-minute fair value gap. There's the 15-minute. Really, we want to see this close through it. That would be phenomenal. Chris, I probably would say, truthfully, it's around 50%. Some days are better than others. Today, we took a trade earlier today. Today would be 3 wins in a row. Yesterday, we couldn't get nothing yesterday. I'm pretty sure I had 2 or 3 losses. But the secret is keeping your losses small and your wins big. So part of me wanting to let this run is stretching that muscle of letting my winners run and not cutting them short. Because if I want to take my trading to the next level, I know I need to have bigger winners. I need bigger winners. I can't right? I typically would say I'm a 1-to-1 risk to reward or a 1-to-2 risk to reward, where whatever my stop is, I'm targeting that in profits. And at a 50% win rate, my profits are relatively going to be small, right? They're going to be, my overall, what I'm taking home is going to be small. So extending it to where I have a 3-to-1 risk to reward, something like that, would drastically improve my profits. And it's just a matter of, excuse me, it's a matter of just forcing yourself to hold through retracements, holding through the drawdown, or holding through the move against you. I'm currently working on a video that talks about rebalancing, taking trades off of rebalancing, or redelivery, I should say. A redelivery is it's coming into a level to redeliver to it, and then from that redelivery, it moves further into profits. Way to go, Samuel. So would my profits be smaller if I put in a stop loss? I mean, I have a stop loss. I just have a stop loss right now that's at 43 points. So I'm saying that my normal targets are 50 to 100. And so right now we're up $79 points. We're currently up 79 points. So you could close anywhere in here and it'd be fine. It is 11 o'clock right now. Let's look at the hour. Let's look at the hourly candle. This is what I was waiting for. What do we have? We have a large wick. We have an hourly order block that we're respecting, and I do see the possibility of higher prices from here. I do see that we could go higher. We have equal highs here on the hourly time frame. So it's very possible for us to move higher from here. My whole idea is not torn to bits by the close of the hourly candle. From a 15-minute perspective, what do we have? We still don't have a fair value gap of any sorts in here, so we would need to drop down to the 5-minute to get better perspective. And we have an inversion of our first 5-minute, and we have a tag of our second 5-minute, and nothing for our last 5-minute. So I'm watching these last 5-minute fair value gaps to see how we interact with them. I anticipate us to close through the second one and for sure tag this one. This is probably more interesting than this one here. How do we engage with that first presented fair value gap? If we close through it, boy oh boy, I will be excited. I will be excited. Because think of it, the other thing in the back of my mind, guys, is let's go to the daily. Remember what I talked about? What was yesterday? What was yesterday? This is yesterday's price action. It was a fake break day. It was a inside day. We have the previous candle's high and the previous candle's low, and yesterday's price action was completely within those levels. When we have a inside day, the following day can be very explosive and has a very high probability of running either the high or the low of the previous day's candle because it was an inside candle. So if I'm right, this is the target. If it's the daily high that we're going after and not the low, which it could be the low, it could run against me. We're sitting at a bearish breaker at this exact moment. but it's going to run one of those levels. It's either the previous day high or the previous day low. Here's that level, okay? Did we hit this? And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Genuinely, I could be wrong. It's not going to run way up here. Maybe we hit this breaker. If we see displacement, it could run lower and run this previous day low right here. So I'm not going to be blind in that fact. I just have to watch and decide where do I see evidence that my idea is not going to pan out. It could. I've seen it where I knew the target was going to be a previous day high and it doesn't run it till 4 o'clock. ES looks great. Now let's just close that way in the next 10 minutes. Yeah, I can tell you, Kevin, here's the progression of how I got here. When I saw and heard other people say, you got to hold for these bigger wins, in my mind, I was thinking, man, I'm just happy with 20 points. I'm just happy with 30 points. Thank God I'm making 40 points. Lord, I'm just grateful for what you're giving me today. Hallelujah. And I didn't even care. Then I got to the point where the market started getting very volatile. And some of these retracements would go 50 to 100 points and stop me out. And I got fed up with the fact that I'm giving the right analysis. I have the right analysis, but my stops are too tight and these swings are too big. And I need to do something different. So slowly, I said, I need to hold my runners longer. I need it to go further. And then I would, take a quick trade and let a runner run a little bit. And then it would stop back at break even. And I would have this in-between feeling of, man, it's not making any progress. But overall, I know the fact that if I want to see the growth I want in my trading, I'm going to have to choose to be uncomfortable to grow. I have to choose to be uncomfortable to grow. And if I'm completely honest with you, I'm slightly uncomfortable, like a 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. Because I've already made up my mind. I'm like, this is what I'm doing. Now, if I start seeing displacing candles moving against me, that uncomfortableness is probably going to go up to an 8 or 9. Because right now, I should have no reason for me to be worried. I shouldn't. Down here, I should be worrying. If we get price action to close down here, I should be worrying. I should be concerned. We're now at the second part of the breaker, the inversion. I talk about this all the time. This is usually my entry point for a short on a bearish breaker. Look at the wick on that. Oh, that's so attractive for a short. I would be like, get in, baby, get in. But my higher time frame analysis, my hourly, 4 hour, and daily are saying, I think we could go higher. Tyler, what do you see on the daily? Well, on the daily, look what we wicked down into on Monday. We wicked into this daily inversion right here. And then we closed inside of this fair value gap, which also is a weekly fair value gap right here. And then on Monday, I said, if we're going to go higher, we are going to go lower first, and then we start moving in this direction. It's now Wednesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, this could end up here potentially. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but that's my higher time frame logic to support my idea to want to go long. Now another confluence for that was on the 5 minute. Look at this. Look at that 5 minute BPR. This 5 minute BPR right here is also the next thing that gave me the confidence. Balanced price range here. What do we see on the left side? We also have balanced price range here. If we look left, look what do we else have? We have a balanced price range here. And then what do we got? A balanced price range here, all to the downside. Telling me I think order flow is higher. Telling me that, hey, if you're going to try to hold for a big move, don't try it on a short, try it on a long. All right, we are really close to that. This honestly would look like this is a solid place to consider selling a contract. It really is. Because if we are not going to make a new high, it's going to stop at this fair value gap. Honestly, it's probably wise to take TP, even though I want to make $1,000 on a single trade. It's probably safer to close the position or take a partial right there. On the 5 minute, we don't have a single fair value gap that's unmitigated in here. On a 15 minute, we will have a 15 minute and it will be the first presented 15 minute, meaning this is where I anticipate redelivery, expansion, redelivery, expansion. That's how I would see it. Well, there's two ways that you can hold. Okay? Well, if it's end of day, it's not a big deal. If it's intraday, there's two ways you can do that. Either you're in drawdown and it going higher doesn't affect you, or you're above your buffer and up and down doesn't affect your drawdown either. If you are in between and you're really still building your buffer, taking a partial is important. 100%. All right, I'm okay with moving my stop to break even at this point. I would not want it to come all the way back down here. That's not, that would just be a continuation if it comes to stop me out. So we'll move our stops to break even. All right, so we have a new 15-minute candle, and guess what it just did? It dipped into the 15-minute fair value gap. Okay, so it just dipped into the 15-minute fair value gap. This is allowable. I have to allow price to run against me like this. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about surviving a retracement. What we're in right here is the retracement I have to survive. Sure, I could have taken a partial at the top, but I didn't because I was waiting for the 5-minute or for the 5-minute fair value gap. This is that partial, or that retracement that we have to survive. If this 15-minute can survive this, I'm good. If it closes and inverses this, I probably should consider taking what's left for profit. 5-minute, we don't need to go any lower because everything else is mitigated. The 1-minute, everything is mitigated down here. So this is, it hit the breaker. It could sell off right here, absolutely. And so that's what we're watching. Is that what it's gonna do? Or are we just putting in a wick right here in the first 5 minutes to then move higher? From my perspective, if we can maintain the midpoint or higher, I'm fine with waiting. When we lose the midpoint, that's where I'm probably gonna have to start taking some partials or just mitigating what profits I can get from this. Now, back to the conversation about surviving a retracement. If price gets back up here, guess where my stop is going to go? Right there. That's what I mean by surviving a retracement. We get there, I'm setting my stop here, and it's now in profit for 45 points. But I got to know that we're going to do that. And I have to remember that a drop right here needs to happen for price to go higher, because this is a 15-minute redelivery. We just redelivered to the 15-minute fair value gap, and I have to allow that. By allowing it, I do risk that it just inverses it and it runs through it and it stops me out. That's the risk. I will also say this. I want to say this finally. One of the reasons why I feel more comfortable holding is because I've already taken 2 wins. I'm already up $1,500 on the day from trading my other accounts, my other funded accounts. That makes things easier. Do you know what I mean? It's a psychological game. How can I make sure I put my emotions in a position to be able to take on such a massive feat of such a big trade? That's how you do it. Best scenario is we close back up and I can move my stop. That's the best case scenario right now. If we lose this low that we've created, that's not good. I don't like this wick. Tapped into a breaker, tapped into a inversion fair value gap, and it's leaving a wick. Let's see how it closes. I'll be right back. I'm trading MNQ. I do my analysis on NQ, but I execute on MNQ. So currently I'm up $250, and that's distributed across 5 accounts. So I'm currently up $1,200. Right now, I'm only using the copier within Tradevate. I use another copier that I haven't used actually in probably a month because I transitioned to a different style of rotating my accounts. So I rotate my funded accounts in groups of 5 to keep my losses small and to help with my psychology. So I'm not taking on massive losses. What's up, Brian? At this point, I'm just chilling. Just waiting. All right, remember that 15-minute candle that I said needed to wick down into that 15-minute fair value gap? Well, now that 15-minute candle is turning green. In the last 2 minutes, this is exactly what I was hoping for. I could have been wrong. I genuinely could have been. But this is what I was seeing and what I wanted to see happen. So I had my plan, my idea, and I'm like, let's just let it play out. We'll see if it stays green. That's really what I want. Yeah, I really don't care about a speaker. Give me a green. No! No! That's all right. All right, so here's kind of where I'm at. If this 5-minute candle closes below this green candle, I will start taking some profits. I do not want to see a down close candle here. That just confirms that we're kind of rolling over here, and I don't know how low it will want to go. Yeah, Josh, you just got to decide, are you bearish or bullish? Your analysis is always in the direction of what direction you want it to go. Or you believe that it's going to go. If it stays green, we should see a higher high. It will in the next 2 minutes. If this 5-minute closes lower like this, then yes, I would agree with you. All right, I'm going to close one contract there. I have one contract left. I have to take that because we have an order block supporting bearish price action in the middle of a potential retracement. I don't know if it's going to be a retrace. I want it to be a retracement, but I can't take that risk and go balls to the walls, so to speak, and let it go back to break even. I need to have some form of wisdom. So we took one TP. I still like the trade idea. I just don't like the current order flow happening right now. And that could change in one candle if it wanted. Yeah, Chris, those indicators are for those that are inside the academy. So I don't know if you're in the academy or not, but if you are, there's an academy channel. You put your username in there, and then I add it manually to all of those inside the academy. This is the kind of reaction I want to see after a sweep of a low like that. I'm still in it. I only sold one contract of the two that I had. The link, Chris, is in the description of this video. No, I will not get in with more contracts. This is an opportunity. We could see some nice price action right here. We're coming up into the lunch macro here. How long have we been in this trade? Since 10:25. So an hour and 15 minutes. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. ES has a 15-minute candle that's dipped into the 15-minute fair value gap that's looking like it's going to reverse. That's great for us. Now, if this 5-minute candle closes, this is where the swing low I can set right on the midpoint of previous day range. That should be safe. And if it does come back down to there, I wouldn't want to be in it anyway. All right, there's the tag of the 5-minute. Let's see it push right through it. I'm okay moving my stop now to the swing low. All right, so now we'll secure at least 50 points, 45 points. So it's a guaranteed that I make roughly $200 on this trade. But I'm shooting for with one contract, I'm shooting for 500. This is a 250 point trade. That would be roughly $500 on one micro. All right, we're in the lunch macro. The lunch macro will either consolidate or run on previous swing highs and swing lows. The price numbers are cut off. Yeah, it's cut off because I want less numbers and more screen so you can see my screen. Primarily. It's a small space that sits in. So I just cut off the numbers so I have more screen space. Or chart space, I should say. It is connected. I just don't trade it on there because I do my analysis on NQ and I don't want to switch between screens. I want both screens up. So I can set bracket orders on Trade of 8, and I like the bracket orders where it puts my stop and target all at the same time with one click. I just like it. What's up, Northern? How do you bracket order? You just set the bracket orders, and then since it's copying on it, it sets the bracket orders on all of them. So when it hits one of them, it stops it out on all of them. No, I'm going all the way up to previous day high. We might not be able to get the stream that long because my guess is that this is going to go into the PM session. My entry price is way down here. 29,177. Before you enter the trade, it seems like ATM settings don't work for brackets. I have them all right here. Maybe they don't. I can do that though if I use the Apex copier though. So I can do it, I can trade here, have my master account, it follow that, and then when it stops it out on the master account, the Apex copier will close everything. What was the entry validation? Were you here for the stream? If you weren't, you need to go back and watch it because it's multiple things. I can run them off really fast. We have 3 BPRs in a row over the last 3 days that show higher price action. We have a 15-minute candle with no wick. And we have a 5-minute inversion or 5-minute inversion for a breaker for the long. That was the validation. I'm a beginner. Are you trading multiple accounts? Yes, I'm in multiple accounts. All right, see this candle? Either I will survive it or I'll get stopped out. What's the purpose for purpose-driven trader? The purpose is that we get financial freedom for kingdom impact, to advance the kingdom of God, to be able to invest in ministries, to be able to help others, to be able to sow into the kingdom. Purpose-driven. I don't know if we're going to survive this, guys. If we do, great. If we do, look at it from this perspective. We went all the way down to this 1 minute here. This 1 minute needs to hold. There's no reason for us to go down here since we already swept liquidity. Unless we truly are moving lower and we're not moving higher. Even with this, I still don't see a reason to freak out. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. It is what it is. 5 minutes left on this candle. I really wanted to see that close green. It's not looking good. I have my stop set at this low right here. We already did. That's why I have my stop set there. Internal liquidity grab was right here, this wick. And we did it again and found support at the previous day midpoint. So I'm anticipating that this is, if we are going to move higher, I would say this is a protected low. It doesn't look like it wants to go higher. So I will probably be stopped out on this. Well, there's old liquidity up here. So you want to go based on what liquidity. Brand new liquidity doesn't have as much orders underneath it as something that's older. Something that's been there longer. Something that's more resilient. This is a quick sweep of the low. It doesn't necessarily mean there's more orders under there. I'm not saying it can't do it. I'm just telling you my logic. Why I think that's not going to be hit if we are in fact moving higher. Three minutes left. I mean, I have a fair value gap down here that we haven't hit. Based on how prices moved, if we're going to go higher, we're not going to go down here. But if we're going to go lower and we're going to make lower lows, then we're going to go down here. I see the evidence for both sides. I just wanted to take a shot for the long. And I'm going to be stopped out. If I get stopped out, I'm going to be stopped out in profit. All right, looks like we're gonna get slapped here. All right, stopped out. We are now flat on the session. No orders or anything like that. And I am gonna be done. So there's our trade, guys. It didn't play out the way I wanted it to do, but you come up with a plan, you stick with it, you adjust your entry, you adjust your stops based on order flow, and then you let the trade play out. So we'll be back here tomorrow. If you appreciate this, guys, come check us out tomorrow. We'll be back here. Thanks for watching, guys. God bless, and we will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.